What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. We have been beaten 4-0 at St James's Park. Welcome to the post-match fan show, which is your chance to have your say about all goings on about that horrible, horrible drubbing at St James's Park. Joining me today is Barnaby Slater, who was with me on the watch-along. You might have seen some angry comments during the watch-along. We're very frustrated. It wasn't a pretty sight. But yeah, look, a terrible day, wasn't it, Barnaby, today? It's very frustrating.
I don't think it was as good as that. It was,
good point.
It was just, I've said it over and over again, and I'm not clever enough to come up with a better word. It was embarrassing. It was completely embarrassing. The way we conceded the second goal after the first was embarrassing. The way we defended set pieces all day was embarrassing. You cannot go live on television all around the world and defend set pieces like that and keep your job, as far as I'm concerned. Like that, honestly, if I was as bad at my job as that, I would lose my job. We don't challenge for anything. We don't block runs. I've said it over and over again. Something has to change there. They obviously they must be analysing these games. It's like we're coming up against Arsenal and Liverpool coming up. They're gonna score 6 goals from corners.
Yeah.
And that's just one part of it. Like we did everything that you shouldn't do at St James's Park. Apart from maybe Anfield, more than any other ground, it's where you cannot let the fans become part of the game. And we were amateurs. Stupid first goal, and then you didn't. And James Maddison just said it in his interview on TNT Sports. Said we let them. We went straight back to our keeper as soon as we conceded the first goal. Let them pin us in. What the hell? Why? You're one of the vice captains, James Maddison. So you're on the pitch. Say, well, whatever we do, don't do that. Let's move forward with the ball. They didn't, and and that's just the first part of it. I mean, it was such a terrible, terrible day. There's so much you could say, and that's just the start of it.
And Spurs as well today. They showed their propensity of collapsing, which they've a few times now this season. They've shown it away at Brighton, away at Fulham. They showed it again today. Thankfully, it hasn't happened too often, but it's happening often enough where it's becoming a problem. And it was a big game today, especially a chance to really pull away from Aston Villa in the top 4 race. And not only did we not do that, we got absolutely battered. And in fact, we dropped down to 5th. Was how bad the battering was.
So can I just say quickly, because I think it might be something that the people who call in might want to talk about. We talked about this a little bit just before we came back on air. I'm really fascinated to see whether Arteta will fall on his ego enough to look at that and say, why don't we play similarly to how we played against Man City, and Spurs will just play into our hands and we'll beat them really easily? Or will he be like, no, we want to play them at our kind of natural game or our own game and maybe make it more of a basketball show? I think it'll be fascinating to see what happens.
Yeah, I am kind of worried about that, because obviously defensively, they're the best defence in the league, and I think if we couldn't break down a Newcastle defence with Murphy and Kraft and these players in it, how are we going to break down Arsenal if they're playing like they did against Man City, just very pragmatic, but always looking for those opportunities on the counter. And against Spurs, there's going to be a lot more opportunities than there were against City. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the approach he takes, especially when there's a lot of games coming up for Arsenal. So maybe he's decides to be a bit smart about it. But Eddie Howe definitely came with the game plan today, and he completely did a job on us. Eddie Howe completely did a job on us. All right, let's start getting the fans on, because this is the fan show, and we'll still, without further ado, let's get Brian Daigle on in the house. Let's get him on. How are we doing, Brian?
Listen, as you people know, I've got ongoing health issues at the moment, but one of my things I try to do is get to Scotland Yard to spend some time with the Toronto Spurs people and support my team, which means getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning for me today to do what I do, to come and watch a pathetic, spineless, gutless, toothless, shambolic performance. And this is me going easy. Barnaby, in answer to your question about how Arsenal go about it, it don't matter. It don't matter. Whichever way they do, if they do what they did at Man City, we'll play into their hands and they'll break and they'll batter us. And if they play how they can play, they're going to batter us. But don't worry, we have sections of this fan base to think, oh, we're going to get the Champions League and it's all good, and the money comes in. We spent this time, I mean, Sim, you did a show yesterday with Brains, and the headline, rightfully so, was, we have to beat this injury-ravaged Newcastle. They have a mother load of injuries that make our injuries that we have look inferior. And they have completely embarrassed us. We disrespected the players that were playing because we were so focused on the players that weren't playing, and they teared us limb from limb. Every single player and Ange should hang their head in shame today. That was worse than Fulham. It was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. I think that's probably fair comments for the performance we put on today. For you, it's hard for me to ask what went wrong because nothing went right. So it's hard for me to pick one thing. But what could have been different today, do you think? What could have Ange done differently in terms of selection or, how we approached the game?
You know the concerning thing for me, Tim, is I came on the show last week after we beat Forest. I was with Barnaby and Amir. And I spoke big time about the midfield and how we can't find the right combination and how someone like a Paulinho or someone is absolutely vital for us. But today, do you know what? From defence to midfield, midfield to attack, there is just no understanding. There is no communication. There is no teamwork. There's just nothing. There seems to be recently a complete breakdown. This is the kind of football I was kind of expecting at the beginning of Ange. As we said, we're all expecting to take there will be these kind of performances. We need to get used to Ange. Ange will suffer some beatings, but he'll get it right. And then we had that incredible start, that phenomenal start. But these beatings and these performances are coming regularly. And you look at it, that was pretty much a full strength team out. And last season, when we were talking about the 6-1, the team was a mess. There was a complete breakdown from the top to the bottom. We went into this game where everything was going like the fans were on board. We had the manager we wanted, playing the football we wanted. We had better players that were more eager to wear the badge and perform for the badge. And look at today, to hear Newcastle saying it's happened again, Tottenham, it's embarrassing. Embarrassing.
It is. I think what it showed to me today is that, consistently we are terrible at breaking down teams who just play 10 or 11 behind the ball. Yeah. And Newcastle and we can't deal with that when it's Brentford or Crystal Palace. So Newcastle were just like, well, we're going to do that, but we've also got 3 of the best players going forward. So we can't score, and then every time they come forward they look like they're going to score, and then add on to that the set piece debacle, and you just got it's humiliating today.
Pardon me, I can't echo more what you said about set pieces, but we had our set piece coach last season, but let's face it, we've had a problem with set pieces for a long, long time. Apart from when we had the set piece coach, which kicked in brilliantly at the beginning. This has been an issue that Tottenham Hotspur have faced for quite a while, but we don't address the situation. We have Ryan Mason doing this. There is an absolute, and I have to say, and I'm one of Mickey van der Ven's biggest advocates and love him to pieces. He was shambolic, like everyone was today. I don't know if it was because of the yellow card and he had to be careful. I don't know what it was. But yeah, Barnaby, the set pieces, this has been an issue. I don't know why with Tottenham Hotspur. We can all see as fans, whether you're YouTube streamers, whether you're social media, or you're just a fan that goes to the pub or watches it with the family, we can all see that there's issues. Yeah. And we can all notice them, but this club is doing nothing to rectify it. Nothing.
Brian, at what point, when you're seeing the lineup we have out today, which is by all accounts a pretty good lineup, and you're seeing how open we are at the back, at what point do you have to say, like, it's not about Ange getting the players he needs, it's about the tactics he's employing? Like, how much responsibility does he need after you're seeing us so open like we were today, like ridiculously open? And yet you look at the back line, it's a pretty good back line. You look at midfield, it's a pretty good midfield. Like, what point do you say, like, well, maybe these tactics are just way too open?
So listen, what I think we can all say as well, when you look at that back 5, if I see that back 5 there, I'm confident against anyone. You think, right, they are solid. They can do the job. Yeah. But it's like you said, it's just you come in here, and don't get me wrong, what I've noticed as well is we take more risks with our passing, building up from the back than we do in the final third. We do these little passes from Vicario and little passes in triangles. We get up top. No, we've got to try and walk it in like Arsene Wenger's Arsenal did, or we try something and it breaks down. We're adventurous when we're breaking out from the back, but when we go forward, it just gets funneled and teams know what we're doing. And when it, as you said, tactically, listen, I love Ange, and when the football's good and free flowing, listen, it's a joy to see. And people have been speaking about both Spurs fans and neutral fans at the change in ours. But there's got to be, when this keeps happening, whether it's you tell the defence to drop back 15 yards or you tell one of the midfielders, right, you need to drop deep and be a shield. You need to support it. Tactically, we've got to find a solution because it's happening way too easy. And if you look at it, if Pedro Porro's hamstring is let's say, a tear or whatever, he could potentially miss Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. And we know how bad we look when there's only a doggy or Porro in, and it's going to rock the boat. And yeah, there needs to be some kind of plan B or an A version, plan A.2, because something is not right, and it's adaptability. And he needs to take some accountability. I love Ange. I'm fully behind him. I want to see what he does in the summer, and hopefully a certain someone will back him. But he has to adapt. This isn't, with all due respect, this isn't the Scottish Premier League. This isn't the Japanese League. This isn't the A-League. Yeah. This is the Premier League, where players and managers will suss you out. And if you make these mistakes, you will get punished.
Yeah, and look, I agree. And I think if you look at Guardiola and Arteta, and Klopp even, they all had to evolve and adapt as well. And this season, basically, Arteta has adapted so much that he's like, okay, we've got to win pretty much every game. We've got to keep clean sheets. He plays 4 centre-halves across the back four a lot of the time. And then
Barnaby, you know what it is as well, though, Barnaby? The thing is as well with me is Arsenal hadn't had Champions League for 6 years. They knew they needed a holding midfielder, and they go drop 100 million on Rice. Yeah. Because they're like, that's the missing link. That's the one that could transform it. Whether you think 100 million was overpriced or look what he's done. Look what he's done. Just that one bit of pure class last season where they were kind of bottling it this time last year. Yeah. They're not showing any signs of it. And it's just, you know what I mean? They didn't have we've got Champions League money we can go spend, or so they went and got that linchpin, that elite player that they needed. And it certainly helped them. It's a problem.
Yeah. All right, Brian. Always good to chat to you, my friend. Speak to you very soon. Let's hope on better days in the future.
Well, the next fan show is obviously against the Filth. So I pray to God that it's better, because if it's a defeat, I will be radioactive on the fan shows. So. Listen, guys, enjoy the rest of the show. Everyone in the chat, have a great weekend. And as always, Levy out.
See you later, Brian. Ange has been speaking a bit more in his press conference, and he said, some quotes from him, he said, it ended up being a transition game, and a lot of that was self-inflicted by us. We weren't brave on the ball. We've been really good this year at understanding that when we have the ball, we can be a threat. Certain players just shield away from that today, and when you do that, you allow the game to be played on Newcastle's terms. When he says certain players have shielded away from shied away from that, like, that's kind of the first time I'm seeing him really call out some players, I guess, publicly. He doesn't really do that too much usually.
That's similar to what Maddison said in his interview. He said just weren't brave enough on the ball. I mean, I think it's just one of those things again. I mean, look, if we'd conceded the first goal against Aston Villa, maybe they would have done the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, we did get the first goal in that game, and actually I think Maddison is right. In that first 15, 20 minutes, there was so much space for us to play, and I was feeling pretty confident about it. The only problem was they were also getting in down the sides every single time. But I don't think that's really digging anyone out in a big way. Like, he's not saying anyone was bad or rubbish, just said that they're not he's just alluding to the fact they weren't brave enough on the ball. Look, there's more problems than that. Like, I wouldn't have minded him coming out and saying, look, you know, I needed to do something a bit different today because, like I just said, it was as simple as they played like a relegation team. 11 behind the ball, and then we're just like, but we've got players up front who will punish them, and they punished us 4 times.
Yeah.
So we never ever at any point during that game looked like scoring a goal. So that's why I wanted to bring up the Arsenal thing and how they'll play, because it is as simple as, if Arsenal play like that, they will destroy us. It's whether it's almost like an ego thing. Can they be pragmatic enough in a game like that? Will the fans allow it? But if they do, I think they will beat us quite easily.
Yeah, that is definitely a massive concern. Let's see what Aaron has to think about it. Let's bring Aaron on. How you doing, mate? Thanks for coming on. It was a terrible, terrible game today. And how did you see things on the pitch? What went wrong for Spurs today?
Everything went wrong. I feel defeated. I mean, I just want to crawl in a hole and stay there for the rest of my life, because, I'm afraid what we're going to see in a couple weeks, and in 3 weeks after, I'm just, it's not looking good. If we can't, losing is one thing, but the way we lost today was just horrible. It was absolutely horrible. 2 goals in 90 seconds. I'm like complaining about one goal, and then they score a second one while I'm complaining about the first goal. And it was just horrible. I mean, no one did well today. There's not a single person on the pitch that had a decent game. And Van de Ven is one that usually does have a solid game, and he was absolute crap. I mean, he fell on his ass twice trying to defend one-on-one situations, and that's stuff you learn when you're 6 years old not to do. And it was just nothing was going right. Everyone was scared. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know what went right today. Yeah,
in terms of Van de Ven, I felt he was obviously coming in for a lot of criticism post after those 2 slips to the first 2 goals. But do you not feel like it's a bit harsh just because, in those first 2 goals, is he not trying to make up for 2 errors one from Udogie and then one for Porro, and there are 2 major errors that have put us in trouble, and he's trying to make up for it. And obviously he's put himself in he's been put in a difficult position, and then obviously they make the most of it. So I know he slipped, but Is it not, him trying to make up for other people's mistakes?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, everyone made, there was a million mistakes that happened before that led to it. I believe on one of the goals, maybe this was in the second half, where we were having a chance on the other end, and they just came down and countered, and then it was just mistake after mistake.
That was at least 2 of the goals.
Everyone was at fault.
At least 2 of the goals were
everyone,
like that.
Everyone,
goal 1 and 3 were both the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just horrible. I mean, yeah, it was horrible. And then, some people will complain that, it's because of Ange Ball, we're too vulnerable. And I'm like, I don't care what style of play you're playing. If you make a bad pass on the pitch, how is that the style's fault? Like, how is that the coach's fault for making a shitty pass to a player that, you shouldn't have passed to, or was just bad technique or whatever, because you can't finish a shot when you're 2 inches in front of the net and they quickly counter. Like, there's no, it's not Ange's fault. It's not, that's just shitty play. Like, that's just bad play, and there's no excuse for it.
No, I hear that, and I obviously not all of it can be Ange's fault, but does he not have to take responsibility when we're consistently being caught out in transitions for good opportunities like we were today? You look back at the Fulham game, how easy it was for Fulham to transition on us and just easily get into our box. So it isn't just because I feel like individual errors sometimes. Sometimes, the players, sometimes the tactics as well. There's got to be something about it if we're consistently caught out in these situations and we have no way of stopping it seems.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, Ange does have to take responsibility for some of this because, I don't know what they're working on the training ground during the week, but, there are consistent problems that I would hope that are being worked on. But when we look at the game on the weekend, it seems like it's the same old story, just like it happened at Fulham. Every time we lose the ball, we're caught with our pants down, basically. It's just like we don't know what to do. We can't defend, nothing. And the transition from defense to attack, and even the transition from attack to defense, both ways were just horrible. We would win the ball and then lose it quickly, or we'd lose the ball and then we would not know how to defend it. It was just every part of this game was just horrible, and we need 2 weeks to try and fix these problems. I'm glad we don't have a game next weekend, because we're going to need every bit of training we need to try and fix what we did today.
We said that out to Fulham, didn't we?
You don't get the sense though that Ange will do any specific training for Arsenal at all. That's the thing. It's like what definitely won't happen is that Ange will not do what Eddie Howe did today and like choose a different style to face a team who are playing infinitely better than we are. So that's a bit of a frightening prospect as far as I'm concerned, to be honest.
All right, Aaron, good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you calling in, and we'll see you very soon.
Top man, Aaron.
All right. See you next time.
See you later.
Call in. All right. A lot of very disappointed Spurs fans today. Let's see if there's any more coming out from Ange. He said, let me see what he said on Porro's injury. Let me see if I can get if he's got any info on that. He said he felt something in the first half. He wanted to see how it went in the second half. I haven't checked with the medical team yet, but we'll see what the issue is. Well, that's disappointing to hear that they felt that issue in the first half, but they persisted. Now he might have picked up something more serious. So,
I mean, I suppose if it's worth talking about because we may forget otherwise. I'd like to talk to some of the people who phone in on as to whether they've seen any more replays of that potential penalty incident in the first half where Bentancur was kicked shoulder high. And I've got a text from someone saying, I can't believe that wasn't a penalty.
The only reason I thought it wasn't is because I thought it might have been outside the box.
Yeah,
but
no, that's what I want to know. I want to know if anyone's seen whether it was inside the box or not. Because if it was, I cannot believe that that's not a clear and obvious error.
Yeah, and I think if we get a goal back before half time, maybe that changes things a bit for Spurs. Obviously, it's hard to hang your hat on that, but I think we didn't end up scoring at all, did we? So if we make it 2-1, then all of a sudden I think maybe a bit more anxiety comes into Newcastle, and maybe we can get back in the game. But unfortunately, that never happened. And I thought the referee had a bit of a weird game. He had a weird game, the ref, actually.
He clearly made a decision early that he wasn't going to book anyone.
Anyone from Newcastle, anyway.
Unless it was really, really something really bad. And then in the end, he made a rod for his own back. But yeah. Look, clutching at straws, because frankly, we could have got done 7 or 8 there and it wouldn't have looked bad. And that's in a game where we had 77% possession or something ridiculous.
All right, let's keep going. We've got Daniel in the back end. Let's see what he has to say on today's game. Hello, Daniel. How you doing, my friend? Thanks for calling in.
I'm good. Thanks, guys. How about you?
Yeah, we're doing well. Have been better, it's fair to say. Really horrible showing today, wasn't it? For you, how do you assess what happened on that pitch today?
Well, I mean, it's been a build-up, I think, over the last few games, right? It's just, we've been seeing the same kind of reoccurrences. I think we're really missing a striker first and foremost. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I personally think Son's better out on the left. Again, if you put Son out on the left and he had those 2 chances that Timo Werner had, I think we're 2-0 up. So we got that. I'm not sure what's going on with Richie's injury. I haven't looked too much into that. Love the guy. Still don't know if he can be the striker that's going to bring us titles, but I think we miss him for sure with that dynamic. And of course, the CDM. I mean, Ange is going to stick to his tactics. He wants his 2 fullbacks inverted into the cam positions, and that's going to leave 2 at the back. I think if you have a CDM like you guys have spoke about, guys like Paulinho, with a little bit more of a defensive awareness, they're gonna leave themselves in a better position where they're not always as far advanced, and they're gonna be able to help kind of maybe even in some cases drop in between those 2 guys at the back and help them out. Mickey, I thought, was a little bit unlucky today. I'm not gonna criticize him too much. Obviously, he's been the signing of the year for sure, and in my opinion, probably the best performing center back in the league. Maybe next to some of the guys that are enemies there with Saliba and Gabriel, but. Anyways, yeah, so I'm not gonna pick on him too much for today. But yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, at the end of the day, too, we have to give Newcastle credit. They played a hell of a game, riddled with injuries, and the way they set up and everything like that was really good. I thought they were compact. We didn't give them too much of a problem up top either, which was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a bitter pill to swallow, boys. What can I say? That's kind of it.
No, I think you've summed it up really well. I kind of spoke similarly about that number 6 earlier on. I think it's so vital to this, and I love Basuma as a player. I think he's very brave on the ball. He's got it. He but he just doesn't sniff out danger, and we need someone who's going to do that, but also be great on the ball. And maybe if we get one of those in, then Bissouma can challenge for the one of the number 8 spots instead. But I just think Pierre Højbjerg, Ange doesn't see as good enough on the ball, and Bissouma I don't think is good enough at sniffing out the danger. I did want to mention, just in case we forget it, one of the earlier callers mentioned today about how we weren't, good enough in the final third or brave enough on the ball. Let's not forget some of those amazing passes from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in the final third.
Of course.
Trying to play it through the balls, and he actually hiked them straight into the crowd. Like, important to take your... the things you can laugh at even when you've been absolutely tanked 4-0. And Højbjerg today, with some of the passing, maybe we can blame the kit, because some of that passing was really unbelievably bad.
Can we blame the kit, Daniel? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I agree. They were horrendous, but at the same time, at least he tried. We weren't seeing that. We weren't seeing that from Biz. So I mean, he was trying. There was just no quality in it, unfortunately. One thing Højbjerg does bring to the game is he does have a good passing range. I think we can all appreciate that. But yeah, I do agree with you, Barnaby. I mean, it's at least we can kind of look back and laugh at that. But yeah, like I said, guys, I mean, there's a long way to go. I think Ange has done a good job with the cards that he's had, and I think he is going to have to concede eventually that 2 at the back probably isn't going to cut it, especially with some of these teams with the low block. And again, I mean, we've been saying this for the last couple of weeks too. We've played against some teams with a little bit lower quality up at the top that haven't been punishing us, and look what happened with Isaac today, right? And he's a top quality striker. He's on his way to potentially being a world-class striker one day. And I mean, he had his chances and he buried them. It's as simple as that. So I think at some point he is going to have to look at maybe solidifying more of a back line there. But I'm not going to also I like the attacking display, and I definitely don't want to go back to a Conte style system either, right? So I think Ange definitely stays in, and we give him a couple more years, and let's see what happens with the boys here.
Funny you mentioned Conte, because I was also thinking earlier, how much do you think Conte enjoyed watching that? People, all these people having a go at me about my defensive tactics. Look how well it works. Look how well it works.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he's probably not even watching. I don't think he gives too much of a shit, but
sure.
He'd definitely have a good chuckle seeing how things ended with him last year, and then we went on till it gets destroyed by Newcastle the game after, and then rinse and repeat. Here we are again. Ange said this at the start, guys, right? And he said that from the day he was here that he doesn't care about clean sheets. He sets up a team that we need to score more than we concede, and that's just the simple reality of things, right? And it can work. I mean, look at City. City concedes quite a bit. And still, I mean, but they put away their chances. I mean, and again, I mean, you can't. It's hard to compare because obviously the investment that they're willing to put into the team is different than the owners of our club. But still, I mean, it's again, we have to score. And Timo, as much as I love the guy, and I agree with you guys, I think for a $15 million signing for a squad player, I still think he's in. I mean, for that kind of quality, for sure, like get him in. But I don't want to see him starting anymore. I'd love to see Son out there again, especially I could be wrong, but from what I'm seeing from the system, your 2 wingers are your goal scorers. Like they're getting the most chance. And again, I think if you've got Son there, who's arguably the best finisher in the Prem, I think like I said, I think we're up 2-0 today. So.
I think that is such a good point that you made, and I also think the way that Brennan Johnson has improved his confidence and his crossing now. If we can get Sonny in those positions that Werner's getting himself in, then he will score those goals. That's very true.
Yeah, I hear that, but I feel like Son, for me, doesn't get into those goal-scoring positions when he's on the left. I don't know. I've not been impressed with him when he's been on the left for us this season, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. The thing is, I haven't seen him play out on that side in a while, so it's even hard to remember. So I mean, you could very well be right, but just going back into my memory, I've always kind of seen him as a good outlet there. I think another thing too with this formation again, I mean, your wingers, like if they've got playmaking ability, it works well. Like I think like that's why Kulu can work well there. But for me, Kulu's issue on the wing is he doesn't have the pace. I don't think he can keep up with the attack when he's out on that side. Like how often have we seen a beautiful ball get whipped in from Timo and he's just nowhere to be found. So I think that's kind of his dilemma is he's just not a super fast player. where Brennan is. So he finds himself in those positions. But yeah, like you guys have said, I mean, it's whether we finish 5th or 4th or 3rd, whatever it's going to be this year, I mean, it's still a huge improvement from last year. We definitely need some more investments in the summer window coming up, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, hopefully at least we get that 4th place spot, because the Champions League, despite the allure for other players, which obviously we've talked for this week, no one cares about, it does bring in more money for the club, right? Which obviously hopefully would get reinvested back into the team. So.
And Ange was asked, is he worried, having watched that game, that they've still got Arsenal, Liverpool and City to come? And he said, no.
He should be.
Well, what do you reckon, Daniel? Should he be worried?
I mean, I think it's a good answer. I mean, if I played soccer my whole life, so if I had heard my coach say, yeah, I'm absolutely worried and scared, I mean, I'd be totally demoralized, and probably, going into the next game, I wouldn't feel too great. So it's a good answer. Is he worried realistically? 150%. Look at the way the team's been playing the last 4 or 5 games. 150%. He's going to be worried. But I mean, again, I think we need to go back to the tapes and watch how they've been playing and watch our mistakes. And again, the nice thing against a team like that is, I mean, at least I think Arsenal's not going to set up with the back 5 low block. They're going to come at us the same way that we're going to come at them. So I think in games like that, we are going to perform a bit better, because we're going to find ourselves in a little bit more of open spaces. Again, Newcastle set up with that 5-4-1 today, and they were super compact and tight. And it's we've shown this year that we've struggled to figure out a solution to that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, he's worried, just like the rest of us are. He's worried for sure. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's our cup final game this year. So.
All right, Daniel, always great to chat to you, mate. Thanks for calling in. And where are you calling from?
I'm actually coming in from London, Ontario. So this is my first day on the show here. So
thanks for calling in, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm actually subscribed on my wrong YouTube channel, so I'll flip that over at some point. But anyways, pleasure, boys. You guys are doing a great job with this channel here. And
thanks
cheers
for calling in. Appreciate you, mate.
Yep, thanks, man. Yep.
Thanks a lot. All right, that was Daniel. Let's keep going. We've got a few people also in the back end. We've got Rovshan here. Is he? Let me see. Is he crashed? Hello, Rovshan.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Rovshan.
Hello, I can hear you, but I don't know if there seems to be a problem. I don't know if you can hear us. Maybe try reconnecting, Rovshan.
My sound is a bit later.
Maybe try reconnecting. We'll try and get you back on. Is anyone else in the meantime?
Can I just talk about something? Today was really made me actually feel like, I know we had a caller on talking about how Arsenal spent, it was Brian, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Arsenal spent £100 million on one player. We need more than one player.
Yeah.
If we're going to deal with situations like that, we need someone who can break down a narrow block defense, do something a bit different, and we need a top quality 6, and then we also need some fullback depth.
Yeah,
at
definitely.
least, right? So, even if we were going to spend £100 million on one player, which we won't, I think we're going to need to be a bit smarter. It'll be really interesting to see what happens in the summer.
Yeah, we for sure. But that's what Andrew was saying. He said he would rather spend 50 million on 2 players than 100 million on 1 player if given the choice. So don't expect big spending on 1 player, I would say. All right, should we give Rovshan another go?
Yeah. Rovshan.
What about now, guys?
Yeah.
We can hear you've crashed again, I think. Is there a delay?
I'm out, guys. Sorry.
No problem. We'll try you next time, Rovshan.
Sorry about that, Rovshan. We'll try again soon. We've got Alex. Well, let's get Mr. Box Office. Yeah, yeah, you go. Let's get Mr. Box Office on. He's how are you doing, Alex? It's not been a great day for Spurs fans today, has it? But how are you feeling about today? You're on mute.
Just to put some things onto it at the moment, just for your audience, you're not gonna like me. You're not gonna like me, yeah. Just so you know, yeah. Just for your audience, yeah, that you're not gonna like me, yeah. And Sim, you're not gonna like this as well, yeah. The most embarrassing panel show I've ever seen in my whole life. I'm sorry. I had to say it to your face. Yeah, because honestly, you told me about Werner, Timo Werner. Look at Timo Werner right now, bruv. But blow average Shane Long. You want to buy Shane Long, bruv. That's why we're not going to win no trophies, bro. Yeah? This is what happens with quality. Isaac scores his chances, puts it in the back of the net, puts Van der Ven, number one guy, everyone's favourite on his Todd. On his Todd twice. Twice, bro. That's what happens. Werner misses chances every single time. That shows you what quality is all about, bruv, yeah? Yeah, so when I'm hearing you putting a plea out to say, oh, we need Timo Werner. I love Timo Werner. I want Timo Werner. I want Timo Werner so much. Oh, we're going to do a plea. That's what happens, bruv, when you want quality. Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, when you get bang average players, bruv. Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, and by the way, yeah, Sim, how many foreign players have we got? By the way, how many foreign players have we got? What is the problem we've got next season when we've got no foreign players? We've got loads of foreign players. Oh yeah, we've got too many foreign players, haven't we? Yeah. And who's making up the numbers? Oh yeah, Timo Werner. Timo Werner. Oh yeah. It's time to be ruthless. One thing I will say, even though I can't stand the guy Postecoglou, I've got to give him some props because what I will say is.
Well,
yeah, you know I don't stand. Sim,
no,
you know the
one
story.
Thing, wait, Alex. There's one thing being the jury out, but you never said you can't stand him before.
You know the story already, Sim. I'm not going to repeat it every single time. You've heard it how many times now, Bob? You've heard it how many times? You don't need to be repeated every single time. Come on, get straight to the point, because I'm not going to be here for 5 minutes. The point is, yeah, I'll give him props because he did something today that I thought he never would do it. He'd taken off Heung-min Son, because Heung-min Son showed me again today why he's not a captain. And he told him so by taking him off today. Well done to Postecoglou for standing up and showing he ain't standing for people being absolute rubbish. Even your captain, yeah? And that's ruthless, yeah? If you do that more often, you get Mr. Bots off inside, I'll tell you that for a fact. Because I'm sorry, it's time now for people to start standing up and making themselves count. And if you're going to be captain, you've got to show yourself right now. You didn't show yourself today, and that's it. And that's all I need to say, and that's it. Back to you, Sim, to say something now. I'm done.
You don't think he's a captain based off one game?
Bro, I've been saying it how many times, bro? I've said it how many times? I've said it on the show how many times, bro? So I don't need to say anymore, bro. I don't need to say anymore. You know what I mean? You know? But like I said before, you on your panel show with Johnny, because you always have to have Johnny with nobody else on to not debate him, because he has to have a free round on the show. Yeah, is that you have him on and you say, oh, we need Timo Werner, we need Timo Werner. Look what's happened. Look what's happened, bro. Only Tottenham Hotspur fans twerk for bang averageness, yeah? And like I said before, if we're going to start talking about Timo Werner, I want the apologies for Bergwijn. I want the apologies for Bergwijn and Llorente. I want the apologies for Postecoglou.
Llorente was great. I love Llorente.
I want all these apologies for all those players that we let go of last time, bro. I'm sorry, yeah? Because I told you, yeah? When Mr. Box Office hears rubbish, you know what's going to happen, bro. I'll come straight up to your face and say, if you don't know, get to know. That's what I say every single time, bruv. I'm sorry, I heard some absolute rubbish on that show, and I'm sorry, I'm not having it. Yeah, because that's what shows you what quality is all about. Isaac scores his chances, Gordon shows his chances against a team with 13 injuries. And we only got 4 injuries, including below average Emil Heskey, a.k.a. Richarlison. Yeah? So we're not going to be missing him, are we? Come on now. I'm sorry, hearing that other call telling me that we're going to be missing Richarlison. Please, come on now. You're having a laugh. You're having a laugh. That guy. I'm sorry, I would sell him tomorrow, bro, if I had the chance, bruv. I'm sorry, I'm not having it, bruv. Yeah, Sim, you know I love you, Bob, man, but I'm sorry. I'm not even that rubbish, Bob, man. I'm sorry. You know it's all football between you, but I'm sorry. I'm not even that. That's it. Back to you, Sim. I'm done.
So, Alex, why are you laughing at yourself? It's so weird. Why are you
laughing at myself, Barnaby? I'm not laughing at myself. I'm not laughing at myself at all.
Yeah, what do you mean I'm laughing at this stuff? When you stop talking, you're laughing at what you said. You're so proud of yourself. It's hilarious.
I'm not. Barnaby, I gave you praise last time, bruv. You don't want this, bruv. You don't need this, bro. Yeah, bruv. I'm fine. I'm fine, bruv. I told you that I've not proven my point yet. I've not proven my point. This season's not proven my point. I've not proven anything. But all I'm saying, I came on the show because you were talking about You lot were talking about Timo Werner, saying that we need to give him a chance. We need to buy him. We might buy him, but this is what's going to happen.
But Alex,
this is what's going to happen.
Do you think Timo Werner was the reason we lost 4-0 today? Like,
yes.
Yes.
Well, come on, that's not realistic.
Why?
If he scores those chances, different game.
Yeah, it's a different game, but then it wasn't a different game. So he's not the reason we lost 4-0. There was a lot more wrong than just Timo Werner today.
But if we score those chances, Newcastle have to come back in the game, don't they? That's the point. Attacking team, yeah, because like I said before, I can't have a go at Andrew because he's told us we're an attacking team. For a guy that doesn't even like him, he said we were an attacking team. He's told us this. He said it from June. He said it throughout the team, throughout the season. So I can't have a go at him about that. But if you're an attacking team, you need decent attackers. And unfortunately, who's the better attackers at the moment? Is it Newcastle attackers or Tottenham's attackers? It's quite easy right now, isn't it? Who won 4-0? And who missed their chance?
Yeah, but we beat them 4-1 back in January, didn't we? Or December.
Yeah, but again, who's in the Champions League, bruv? Who's had more games? Who's had more injuries? This, like I said before, we've got less injuries than Newcastle, and they battered us today. And we've had one game a week, bro. One game a week. Sorry, I'm not, like I said, I'm not proving my point right now. Next season after that, I'll prove my point. Because if you're gonna bring up players like Gallagher, Conor Gallagher, people like Conor Gallagher, Timo Werner, well, Barnaby, I've made my point quite clear to you. If you get average players, you're not going to do anything next season, bro.
Right.
It's quite clear.
So who do we need?
Like
what kind of players?
Backups. If you want backups, squad players, they're not good enough. They're not good enough.
Who do we need, Alex? Who do we need?
Some players that can compete.
I think
players that can compete.
I feel strongly that Ange Postecoglou agrees with you. I think, I'm very sure that he would like a better number 6. He'd like a better kind of different wide forward who can do something a little different, as well as kind of come in at the back post and finish chances and make chances for the other wide forward. And I think he probably wants some depth in the fullback positions. I mean, he has openly said that, it's going to take a number of transfer windows, but the thing is, Alex, the thing that I'm a bit confused about is it's like the way that you present your arguments is a little bit like it's not okay for other people to think differently to you. Football is all about subjective opinions, and other people's opinions aren't any more right or wrong than yours are. But it's just that you present yours in a really aggressive way, and it's a bit confusing.
I don't think I've said anything. I've just said that you said what you said, so I'm challenging it, and that's it. I never said that you're not wrong to say that.
You started off by coming on and slagging off the panel show and people who were on the panel show. Because you came on and you started slagging off the panel show and abusing people on the panel show.
But the thing is, though, Barnaby, you had somebody on, you had people on that didn't have anybody to rebuttal what Johnny was saying. Nobody had anything else to say. It's not that type of person. I'm not going to go because he's my boy. But my point is, right, is that you didn't have anybody to rebuttal it. So today, I'm battling it by what I've just seen today.
We've had plenty of people rebut Timo Werner, trust me. There are
campaigns
against Timo Werner. What are you talking about?
You didn't have anyone on that show to rebuttal it. You had everyone else to just say, oh, yeah, he's really good. Oh, he's really good. Oh, yeah, we need to keep him. Yeah, oh, yeah, it was all cool. And I'm sitting there thinking, come on now. Someone needs to say something here. Come on. You know what I mean? So that's all I need to say, and that's it. I'm not having a go at people. Everyone can have their own opinion. I'm not here to change your mind, but I'm saying how I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, and that's it. So,
did anybody come on the panel show?
Off your show, by the way, I better get off the show because, like I said, I better go off the show because I know your producers don't like me. So, anyway, moving on. I love you, Slim. But by Barnaby's opinion, last time I was on, I'm not your favourite. I'm not your producer's favourite, anyway. But that's all I need to say, and that's it. I'm sorry I have to keep it short and sweet because I've put what I said I need to on Mr. Box Office TV, and that's it. But big up to everybody in the chat, and I'm out of here, Bob, and that's it. I'm done. I'm out of here, Bob. Yeah, take care.
Nice to see you, Alex. We'll see you again soon, bro.
Usually I find that when people come on other people's shows, it's the people whose shows it is that decide when you come on and when you go off. But with Mr. Box Office,
he decides.
He's in full charge of how long he comes on people's shows.
He was not having any
want to go on your panel show, by the way.
He's come on a panel show before. I think he's welcome on a panel show. But we'll see what we can do in the future. But classic Alex, he doesn't mince his words. I think it's fair to say. Let's get Ryan on. Ryan's in the background, been waiting very patiently. Let's get him on. How you doing, Ryan? Thanks for calling in. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I've been
Fucking
better.
awful, Ryan,
Yeah,
I'm
not
totally
been great.
honest.
It's not been a great day for Spurs. Fantastic, Ryan. What's your assessment of today?
I think it's just a shambles, really. I don't really know where to start. I think just the way Newcastle set up, I don't think it really benefited Son, and I think you guys touched on it in the match reaction. Son is very much, in my opinion, to blame for that first goal. I mean, I think if Richarlison was fit, a more physical 9, possibly could he have dealt with Shah and Burn a little bit better? Maybe, I think so. So that's where I think today, I think Son would have been better on the wing. And had he been on the wing, I think he puts away Timo Werner's chances, and we could be looking at a completely different outcome of the game. But yeah, I think it's just sloppy at the back. Romero didn't help Van der Ven. Porro was really, really poor in possession. And I just think everything altogether we just completely capitulated.
Ryan, can I ask? You've used 2 great words there: shambles and capitulation. Like, totally describe it perfectly for me. How does today's performance affect your kind of overall feeling for the kind of medium to long term of Spurs, or does it at all? Or is this just what Ange has talked about before, or fans of Ange who've seen him at other clubs have said there will be some games where you get absolutely tanked?
Yeah, I think it's all part of the process. Like Ange has been saying since the very start, he said it's going to be a bumpy road. He said right at the beginning, he said it's not going to be easy. There's going to be some ups and downs along the way. I'd like to think this is one of those downs, but you know, it's not the first time this has happened. Obviously, Fulham a few weeks ago, Brighton just after Christmas. It's a little bit more worrying that this is happening towards the end of the first season and not towards the beginning. But yeah, I think we're in a process. I hate to compare us to them, but if you look at what Arteta's done, Arsenal have given him 5 years and he's challenging for the title in back-to-back seasons. So I think it's difficult for us fans to sometimes remember that this is only his first year. So I think just give him time. I think in the summer he'll have a better idea of who he wants in, who he wants out, and hopefully it should be better next season.
Can I just say before Sim comes in, that is dangerous common sense you've just spoken there, Ryan. That will not be appreciated in the Mr. Box Office towers. You go for it.
Ryan, in terms of, the problems that we had today, that we've consistently had for for a lot of this season, those transitions where seems so easy to attack us, essentially, so easy to get in on our back four, so easy to get in behind us. Today we had our first choice back 5. We had Basuma and Bentancur in the middle. Like, if we can't, if we're still looking this open with that kind of backline and midfield in the team, what needs to change before we start looking a bit more secure?
It's difficult, really. I think you guys touched on it quite well. I think that destroyer 6 that we're really lacking. I think Basuma doesn't have the ability to sit between the 2 defenders and properly defend the transitions like Van der Ven can. And I think when you just have 2 defenders at the back, with obviously Porro and Udogie almost as 10s most of the time, I just think it leaves us far too open. And I would actually be more in favour of Ange maybe looking to invert one fullback at a time, maybe one more than the other. I think Porro would probably be the best candidate. I think Udogie has stronger defensive qualities than Porro does, and he's obviously pretty physical player. I think if we maybe look to invert one fullback instead of 2, and then just bring in a really strong 6 like a Palhinha, like an Onana, because I just think when you push everyone up the pitch, and you saw today Newcastle on the counter with Gordon and Isak and stuff like that, with just 2 defenders, it's just not enough. I mean, the first goal, like 2-on-2, we were just asking for 1-0. So
yeah.
I think just a couple of key signings in the summer, possibly some tactic tweaks, which I know Ange won't like because he's been very stuck in his ways of how he wants to play, and I do respect that, but I think he's got to sometimes look at it. I mean, this is not the first time this has happened. So I think
Ryan,
he's got to do something about it.
Can I ask, because I don't know, maybe Sim knows more than me, or you do, but I've never followed Ange's career in Japan or Australia or really Celtic that much. But you can't tell me that he was inverting, and I'm not saying you are, but I don't imagine he was inverting both his fullbacks, 15 years ago. So it's not like he doesn't evolve his process. And surely he will, with his coaching team over the summer, be like, okay, what needs to change? And if it's the reality of the Premier League is it's a lot more physical than I realise, we've got to get players who are able to head the ball a bit better as well as do the stuff I want them to do, then hopefully he will evolve tactically as well and isn't it more likely that he will evolve tactically when he has the players that he wants fully in the squad and the team?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think I'd say the only piece he's really missing is that 6, and then it's really down to the tactical evolution, like you say, because I don't think Udogie and Porro at this moment are massive weak points in the team that any of the fan base are really looking to upgrade upon. I think everyone's kind of pointing the finger at the 6, whether that be Basuma or Højbjerg today, because I don't think Højbjerg really changed it for us today when he came on. So yeah, I think that's all we're lacking, and then apart from that, once you've got that 6, whoever that may be, it's just down to Ange to maybe say maybe the fullbacks need to be a little bit more conservative in the way they go forward, and then hopefully we'll just concede less goals and do a little bit better.
I think all those things and a set piece coach is probably definitely in order. I think we can all agree on that. 100%.
That's number one target.
Number one target.
Can I just say, I have 2 comments I saw. I saw one comment saying Ange has been inverting both fullbacks since the A-League days. And then I saw another comment saying Ange didn't invert in the A-League. So really got to the bottom of that one.
Depends who you believe, I guess. But look, Ryan, appreciate you calling in, my friend.
Yes,
great
thanks,
call,
Ryan, mate.
Great call, mate. And
thanks,
we'll see you soon.
Top man.
Cheers, Ryan. Yeah, I guess it's one for the historians, I think, whether Ange was inverting back in the A-League or not. Let's get Donovan on. He's wearing a high-vis. I think maybe he's at work, on the job, or doing something. Donovan, how are we doing, my friend?
Yeah, don't tell my boss, lad.
All right, we'll keep it zipped. I hope
you're better at your job than Mile Jednak is at his.
Yeah, and I hope the 4-0 was worth it. I don't know if you watched it at work or not, but
no, I'm in Canada, so I was up at 4 a.m. Like an absolute tosser, but I mean, it is what it is, right? So.
The things we do for Spurs, Donovan. What did you make of what you saw today?
If you're going to play a high line against arguably the best counter-attacking team in England, you have to be on your game. And it's not to be at the back 4, but the number 6 and the 8s have to be on it too. And we just weren't on it today. I'm not going to go against Ange because it's his first season and it's a rebuild. But, I really expected a lot more from Basuma and a lot more from Bentancur. I honestly don't think it was right playing both of them. They're both silky technicians on the ball, and they're almost nonchalant in the way they play. And against even like a depleted Newcastle, the way Eddie Howe coaches their team is to be hard and resilient and really aggressive. And to have those 2 silky players in the pitch, like we just got out-muscled and out-bullied.
They bullied us. That's right. You're dead right. Yeah. They bullied us. Yeah.
And it showed. And it showed with the likes of how many counterattacks did we concede? It was crazy. Not saying that Pierre-Emile Højbjerg would have done any better, but at least he's got a bit more grit. Sar's got the legs to get around, and not to go against what box office said there, but it would have been a lot different if Timo Werner buried their early chance, right? So then they are coming up chasing us. But overall, it was a really frustrating watch, and I already went into the game thinking with this huge run of hard games ahead of us, like we really needed to pick up points here, and we have a really big next game against Woolwich at the home stadium. So we have a quick 2 weeks to turn it around. Otherwise, I'm fearing the worst, to be honest. So,
is it a concern for you, Donovan, that you look back at the Fulham game and it was a very similar story, that we're not learning some of the lessons, especially away from home at the moment, or is it all just a learning curve for you?
Yeah, it is a bit of a lesson this season. No matter what happens, we already managed like same point tally as last year. We've still got about 5 games to play. I think Ange is also seeing what players he can rely on and can't rely on. Like for example, Mickey Van de Ven. I don't think anybody expected him to come in and hit the ground he did and the heights he did. Yeah. And if you're telling me that what is it, the 22nd game or the 25th game of the season, and he's making like one of his first like mistakes and absolute calamities, I mean, I'll take that. Like I was expecting. Like you look last year and the shambles we had then, and how many times have we seen Sanchez falling down and Tanganga making those mistakes.
True.
At least Van de Ven got that consistency. There seems to be a solid partnership there. We have a well settled back line, so there's stuff to build off of. But a couple tweaks here and there. I still don't think we have our best midfield. I think our front three still needs a bit of work. It's dynamic, but you could tell today we're lacking that strong physical presence up front. Shar came out today. And he bullied Son, like with his first tackle. He chased him right to his own bench and absolutely just clattered him, letting him know that, all day I'm going to be on you. And I really think today we were screaming out for someone like Richarlison up front, because at least he's got that fight and that grit to be able to hold the ball up and give it as good as he gets. And there's a reason my son was hauled off at the 60th minute, right? So
yeah, you're absolutely right. And actually, I think us being physically dominated and bullied is a tactic that's been used many, many times this season, usually by those kind of I always use Crystal Palace and Brentford as the example, but today was another example of a team who came and did the perfect number on us in that physical way, but also playing low block, 5 across the back line, 4 just in front, and the difference was they have unbelievably clinical players up front, whereas in the games where we played against Brentford, Palace, Luton, sure, they've got 1 goal most of the time, but we were able to then punish them more. And it'll be interesting, again, I think, to see how strongly Arsenal come at us physically. And I think we need to make, for that Arsenal game, we need to make the Tottenham Stadium exactly like Newcastle was today. We've just got to make it so horrible for them and just hope that we get the first goal and then that momentum carries us on to get a second, because we need to destroy their season.
Yeah, the only thing I can add to that, Barnaby, is big up, by the way, I think this is the first time I've talked to you.
Yes, mate.
This isn't the same Arsenal team that's going to come and capitulate like they did 3 seasons ago, right? Like they've been galvanized and they've come together. But what will play in our favor is that they will play expansive football and they'll come out and they'll look to get on us and push high up the pitch. And if we can make those couple passes, 1, 2, 3 here and there, and break those lines, Maddison will have the wings to play into. And like once we get that ball past the 6. The space opens up, and we just have to exploit that space. And it's about keeping our composure, being brave, like Anne said. I'm hoping Poro's not too bad. I hope it's just a tweak, and that 2 weeks off is going to be good for him, because we need both fullbacks to be inverted and dynamic. So.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need him for sure. Just the last, before we go, Ange was asked if he was worried from what he saw today with fixtures against Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool coming up. He said no, no and no. Do you also hold those feelings, or are you worried with what you saw with those games coming up?
Yeah, I'm not shitting myself, lads, but at the same time, it's like realistic. Like, it's like these are the best teams probably across the continent. And, but then again, we played Ben Davies and Emerson Royal at the Etihad, and we got a draw. So, I mean, if that's anything to go off of, right? So, no, I told, like, I'm on the Hotspur a lot too, and Irish Hotspur there. I told him the same thing. Like, as long as we secure top 6, actually, I'm going back to my word. As long as we secure Champions League football and don't get battered by Woolwich, we should be okay. We know our record at Liverpool. Ironically enough, it got switched to my birthday there, so it's either going to be a good day or a really, really crap day. So,
hey, you're gonna get someone to give a customer hand in warehouse one
we'll see. We'll see how.
I guess we'll have to leave you there, Donovan.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Top caller, Donovan. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, guys.
See it. I really hope a 4-0 defeat to Newcastle isn't worth his job. I really hope.
I was just about to say, I can tell you how your birthday's going to be, mate. It's going to be a terrible birthday.
But I think he was the last caller of the day, so appreciate all the callers calling. Oh, did he? Oh, brilliant! Big up. Appreciate everyone calling into the show. Appreciate everyone interacting with the stream, with the watch along, all the comments, all the super chats. Appreciate everyone supporting the channel. Really appreciate everyone. It's been a hard day as a Tottenham fan. It's been a very difficult day talking about it, sitting through and watching that.
It'll be a hard 2 weeks.
It will be. We've got 2 weeks to mull over that result. So let's just hope. I don't know. Let's hope Bayern can dump out Arsenal during the break, and we can get something to smile about. But Barnaby, appreciate you coming in as always, and appreciate your time. If you want to see more of Barnaby, go check out the Spurred On podcast at Barnaby Slater in the title of this video. We'll let people know what's going on in the show.
Well, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be making daily videos that no one's going to watch because everybody hates Spurs. So, yeah, at Barnaby Slater _. And if you like listening to podcasts, go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Just type in the Spurred On podcast. Daily stuff about Spurs, usually with a little bit of a positive glass half full bent, but maybe not in the next fortnight. It's going to be difficult.
I'm sure you'll find a way to be positive. I'm sure of it. Appreciate you, everyone who was in the stream with us today. But that is all we got time for. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.